that is associated with wokeness and its foundation in the frameworks of democratic theory. And this is not only the idea of inevitable conflict among groups, right, which is why you've heard the term cultural Marxism, right, to describe this way of thinking. The Marxism is, so it's a version of Marx's idea of inevitable class conflict. In Marxist view, it's, workers, it's labor and capital. In the cultural Marxist view, well, there's inevitable conflict, but among other groups, people of one race versus people of another race, or people with one kind of identity against people with another kind of identity, and entities can intersect in complicated ways, so-called intersectionality theory. There's also this idea of an inexorable upward approach, which is also part of Marxist understanding. And of course, the world in which inevitable racism took away, and inevitable company is lagging in DEI indicators if people with the appropriately defined identities are not on average achieving the same results, right? So however you define these different identities, however they're distributed in the population, percentage-wise, you should have the same percentage of people from those identities, in the executive team, same number of people. Well, this also affects marketing and public relations. It's kind of a joke now. I think almost everybody second or third grade, the legislature passed some law that said public school teachers are not supposed to discuss issues of sexual orientation, sexual identity to students in third grade, and that was subject to criticism from the local crowd as being extremely restrictive and threatening to South State. So apparently the governor of Florida slapped them down by taking away some of their privileges, some exemptions to zoning rules, and taking away some of their tax breaks and so forth. Okay. So what we're interested in here, why is all this happening?
Not anymore.
Right? Why are companies that, on the face of it, you would think, look, they just want to make money. Right? So why would they care about all this stuff? Why are they getting involved in politics? Why are they trying to influence the culture? How does that square with their mission of earning, generating profits for shareholders? Well, it's useful, and you see in this literature an important distinction between what we might call normative versus instrumental motives for going woke and engaging in similar behaviors. By normative, I mean, so a company that is going woke for normative reasons is doing so because the key decision makers or top executives, employees, customers think that going woke is the right thing to do. We're doing it because it's correct, it's true, it's right, it's just, and we care about doing the right thing. As opposed to doing it for cynical reasons because you think you can make more money. Okay, when you go to Starbucks and you see all this stuff on the wall about how we source our beans from small farms in developing countries using sustainable practices because we care about the environment and we care about protecting the small farmer in Nicaragua or Colombia. I mean, most people recognize that Starbucks really doesn't give a hoot about those things. It's just people who buy coffee at Starbucks, some of them are willing to pay a higher price for the warm fuzzy feeling you get inside, knowing that you did a good deed as you're sipping your $8, Frappuccino or whatever. So, if customers are willing to pay more, are willing to buy more, pay higher prices from a company that proclaims fealty to woke values, then it is profitable for a company to do so. Or maybe you want to hire a particular type of employee. You want to hire woke, only want to hire recent graduates of Ivy League colleges and universities who are super, super woke, and they won't take a job anywhere that isn't, where the workforce isn't also woke, and so, okay, you go woke to try to attract them. Again, that's this idea of woke washing. We're not really committed to these ideas normatively, but, we can make more money by acting like we are, okay? Now, it could also be that, owners of firms, investors, maybe top executives and other leaders are again, deeply committed to these ideas. Slightly related, take a company like Whole Foods, right, which is not a woke corporation exactly, but the CEO and major shareholder of Whole Foods, John Mackey, has a deep personal commitment to environmentally sustainable practices. And so a lot of things that Whole Foods does, and Whole Foods is a very profitable company, really do reflect the preference of key decision makers. And of course, we would expect to see that in a market economy, right? Especially with smaller firms, right? Smaller owner-operated firms, there's no reason why they shouldn't engage in ways that reflect the preferences of the owners, even if it comes at the expense of profit. Chick-fil-A isn't open on Sundays because the founders think that people should take Sunday as a day of rest for religious reasons, even though Chick-fil-A can probably make more money selling chicken sandwiches on Sunday. We would expect to see that in the market economy. So some of that could be, the woke corporation, the drive toward the woke corporation could be explained to some degree by that. As I said before, maybe you want to recruit and retain employees with certain values, so you make the company embrace those values as well. But a factor that I think is underexplored, I'm writing a paper on this myself at the moment, it has to do with sort of the role of what we might call middle management. But it turns out empirically that most of these woke initiatives are really not coming from rank and file employees. They're not being primarily pushed by CEOs or by boards of directors. It's really a kind of middle manager position. HR directors, people who run DEI programs in companies, right, are the ones who essentially have been given a huge amount of latitude by the board, by top executives, to sort of run these programs whatever they want. One likely explanation is that executives are terrified of bad publicity, right? They don't want to be called out as being racist or being sexist or whatever, and so they grant their lower level DEI personnel, who are subordinates, right, an extremely wide berth. We'll give you all the resources you need. You run whatever DEI programs you want. We want to look like we're supporting it. We don't really know what it is, and we're not sure we're really on board, but the one thing we don't want is to be written up in the newspaper as being a company that has a hostile work environment because it's not working. Okay? We use these especially at universities. Like, who runs all of the diversity programs and all the woke programs at universities? It's the assistant vice provost for student affairs. It's not the president of the university who's pushing it. It's not the board of directors or curators or whatever. It's some kind of mid-level